Hi everyone and welcome back. I was just thinking that I've had a few days off in the last 2 weeks, it being Easter and all, but in some ways the work and the filming has felt a bit disjointed almost. I think, do you know what it is? It's bouncing projects, it's got to be. Normally in the past I'd have one project, and then if I had to wait for a part, I had to wait for a part before moving on. Nowadays I can jump back and forward between one and the other. I think the YBR is the focus today. I think it's close to being okay to a certain extent, but I do have to really work out where I'm going with it. And one thing I noticed the other day was that the rear brake, look, it's all a bit iffy. Ideally I think I'll pop that off. I'll put it on the on a stand and I'll pop the rear wheel off, I think, and get it all kind of lubed up in here and stuff, because it's sticky. I mean, it's loosened up now. It's not actually punching back very well, look. It's sticking forward. Feels like we're missing something. Are we missing a return spring? Also, the rear switch isn't attached, but that's easy. It should be returned. Look at that, look. Why is it not returning? Alright, we need to look at that then, because it's not right there. It's not terrible, it's just it needs to be returning, of course. My guess is it's just all a bit gunked up and needs a bit of a clean, or there's some sort of return spring in there that's not attached. Should there be a secondary return spring? There is a spring there. Is that meant to be supporting? I can't even see it. Alright, let's get it out. Let's focus on the rear wheel instead of focusing on anything else. We've got nice paintwork, no point putting it on yet. Let's get all the other bits and pieces done. I gave this a good clean, but look, it needs another one. And it probably needs a dusting of matte black in some of these areas, just to give it a bit of protection. I'll of course wipe down any rust that's there. Or actually, maybe I'll use the rust converter. That would be the more appropriate response, wouldn't it? Use the rust converter, convert any rust I can see, and then give it a dusting. But for now, let's see what this rear brake's doing, because everything else feels pretty good. Okay, so I didn't film as much as I should, actually. Apologies about that. But it was all just cleaning and bits of grease here and there on springs and stuff, and just cleaning, clearing. And yeah, you know, like you've got the spine down there, needed cleaning and clearing, because ultimately all the little springs throughout this system work towards pulling it up. The spring here, I've put a little bit of tape around it just to lift it a bit higher. It's actually all working now, but the pedal's sitting a little lower than I'd like. I'm going to try and adjust that from the back to see if it's adjustable, but this is a system I've not seen before. There's always been adjustment within this. And on here, there doesn't appear to be. It's more like if that spring is stretched or anything, we need a new one, which I'll look for. If there's a new one, I'll grab it. No reason not to. So it's either adjustment from here to here, or I'll need a new spring there, because that one's just, it's working. It's absolutely working. But the brake pedal's sitting a bit lower than I would like it. But that's me. I sit them quite high. You see, I have my foot quite high. So I'm going to get it all put back on. I'm going to see how things sit, and we'll go from there. So a lot of work done, but you know, lots of good fixes. All of that was needed, but it's so loose now that it's not quite right. So all of this is springing, yes, it's all. But look, I can do it by hand. So we do need some pressure here. This one just isn't anywhere near. My hope is a new spring would just solve it, but I have a feeling it might not. So I need to work this out, what's going on. I wonder if I can drill a new hole, because I need to bring this spring up. If I drill a new hole and bring this spring up, I can create the same system. So it is braking, it is working, but it has no feel to it. You know, it stops the wheel. Let me use my leg, look, watch it, look. You know, So it's absolutely doing its job, but it has no feel to it. And it feels lovely in some ways, but it does need a spring. I could put a spring through the hole here, which is the hole for the brake light switch, up to here somewhere. So I'm going to see if I have any spares. If I have a spring that fits, I'll be very happy to use that. Different systems use different things, but springs going up is very common. The KTM will have a separate system, won't it? Oh, it's hydraulic. It's different. But yeah, they'll all have different systems. Wow, that's a caliper on the rear. So what do you use? A spring. Look, little spring going up. So that's kind of what I need, really. Look, it springs down. So I'm going to see. I've got a bunch of springs. So I'm very happy for this fix. It shouldn't be considered to be a bodge at all. I've got a spring going through the hook for the brake light, which I should also hook up now. And it didn't quite reach the nearest bracket, so I've used the second spring under tension for the first one. So watch. Spot on. And the rear wheel, of course, does brake. I'm very happy with that. That's a long-term solution. In the long run, if any of these ever went, which they shouldn't anytime soon, you'd get another one, connect it on. I'm happy with that. I'm keeping that exactly as it is. What is next? So rear brake's good, front brake's good, clutch is fine. I'll let me realign the rear wheel. It's a bit iffy at the moment. It's a bit to the right, so I need to realign the rear wheel while I'm down there. And then, wow, I guess the exhaust would go on next overall. Let's see if this is a bit sharper. Drill bits, they die so quickly in my hands. We're okay now. I think we can get the exhaust on. I'm not sure until I mock it up again. I'm unsure. Let's get it mocked up. Why not? I might have been way out. Actually, I'm gonna have to take it off. Off with the rear stand, also known as a paddock stand at times. Annoyingly, I thought the camera was on when I was filming that. That's the new exhaust. Let me check if I think the pipe needs extending. Yeah, it does. That's interesting. So we need some extension on here somewhere, which is fine. It's done. I haven't put the head bolts in yet, but that's all lined up and set up, so that's fine. I'll put that on now actually, so it's all done. This end's bolted and solid and good to go. Let's give that a bit of a wipe. That will be WD-40 and that will burn. Of course, we actually have silver over pieces for this. Look, we have an end piece, which they look a bit tacky to me actually. I think it goes that side there, and then there's a whole piece that goes along. I mean, it does. I say I think it looks tacky. It does. It's actually cheaper than Chinese crap. You can feel it. But yeah, but that'll go there. It will at least look new. At least people will know it actually is new. Probably do have to do something with that eventually. I might have to hammerite it black or something just to neaten it up. Might be easier to do it with a brush. Let me get the head on, and then I think I'm wrapping up for today. I'll come back tomorrow. And tomorrow will be the aim for tomorrow will be to finish this up to the point where it might pass an MOT. Now I have no idea what may or may not be needed. Front brake seems a bit spongy, but okay. Clutch works. I can't remember if I've put this into gear or not. I think I did actually. I did, and I'll drive it around briefly. Front needs to come back together. That should be straightforward enough actually eventually. And now we have an exhaust. Let me put them on or I'll forget. Cool. Wow. So you know what? We made progress today. We made more progress than we should have. That feels great. I'm really pleased with that. Really pleased. Yes, and the emissions stuff there as well. Cool. So I forgot, but online forums say to block these off. They say it runs bad with them. It is just recirculating bad air. So I'll cut the tube here, pull it on, block it, and I'll block it up here as well. So the system's still in place, but it will be blocked. I think that's the best thing to do here. Emissions, it won't affect too much. I wouldn't worry too much about that. So yeah, that's going to be the route tomorrow to block it off. Tomorrow now, we should be looking at tank and side panels, which are looking pretty good actually. So tank and side panels, and then little bits of more cleaning and clearing, and of course we'll need to fire it and actually see what it's doing, because we don't really know the ins and outs yet. I'm packing up, but something's just struck me. Now I don't like how this started yesterday or the day before, after sitting for a week or two. It's quite common with bikes that have been sitting a long time. It takes them a while to kind of lubricate themselves fully and start easier. Once they're kind of used regularly, they go back to starting up easy. So this is stone cold. So let's see how well it starts. Come on, be nice. So that weren't too bad. What I have to decide is, do I give that carb a clean when I have to take the rear off anyway to do the light? Do I give that carb a clean? My guess is probably it wouldn't hurt. But my other guess is it just needs to be used and run daily now and get the oil circulating. I'm going to put new oil in it, and it'll become an everyday bike. I'm going to leave it running while I keep clearing up. I also need to top up the fuel actually. Yeah, I don't know how much I put in last time. But yeah, let me run it for a bit and then I'll chuck it all away. This is looking good, it's getting there. I think once the panels and tank go on and the pieces here, it's going to be really looking good.